Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Cooking with Rob. I'm your host Rob. Today we're going to be making a snack, my favorite version of my favorite snack. It is a roasted garlic hummus, and I feel like I have perfected this recipe. I've also been getting requests from my uncle Jeff to make this video, so this one's for you, Jeff. Let's run through our ingredients. Not much to make a roasted garlic hummus, which is one of the reasons I love it. It's really simple. So this is all you're gonna need. You're gonna need some olive oil. You're gonna need the juice of 1 lemon. You're gonna need 2 whole heads of garlic to roast. You're gonna need 1 can of chickpeas, some salt, some cumin, the most important ingredient, tahini, and then I use a little bit of smoked paprika just to sprinkle across the top at the end. Our first step is going to be to roast the garlic. So get your oven preheated to 350 and more instructions will follow. Alright, the first thing you got to do when you're roasting garlic is cut off the tips of all your garlic cloves. So I just take a nice slice off the top. And then I investigate a little further. I usually peel a couple layers of skin off because they're just gonna burn anyway. And then you wanna make sure that there aren't any hidden tips that didn't get cut off, because it just makes it really easy to squeeze out the roasted cloves once you're done. So you wanna make sure all the tops of every clove of garlic are cut off. So you can see there, all the tops just nipped off, just cut off enough that the oil can soak in and that they're going to be easy to press out once they're roasted. Okay, now that I've got the tops cut off, I'm going to drizzle 1 teaspoon of oil all over each head of garlic. Now, you'll see that I've got this fancy garlic roaster that Heather's grandma gave to us. If you don't have one of these, that's totally fine. You don't need one. Just wrap the heads of garlic in tin foil on a baking sheet and close the tin foil around the garlic after you've poured the oil on. Cook time is about the same. So right now I'm just gonna get 1 teaspoon drizzled on to each head, and I just try to make sure that all of the little cloves get some love. I want to make sure that that oil reaches as much of it as possible. I even give it a little rub after. I might not have mentioned, you want to preheat your oven to 350 too. I've already got that started. And there we go, they're all ready to be put in the oven. You can see there, nice oiled up heads of garlic. We're just gonna pop the lid, oh, and look, the oven is preheated. I'm just gonna pop the lid on, pop them in the oven, and they're gonna roast for 55 minutes. 55 minutes. So another pro star tip for when you're making roasted garlic hummus is maybe roast your garlic earlier in the day before you make it, because it does take an hour. You have to wait an hour before making the hummus, and then you also have to let it cool so you can handle it. So give yourself some time for the roasting process.
Good tip.
Okay, so the timer's gone off and the garlic has actually come out of the oven. And to speed up our process, Heather suggested that we put it on a plate and pop it in the freezer for a few minutes so that it's easier to handle. So that's a good idea, and that's a new tip that I learned today, so we don't have to wait for the garlic to cool to handle it. Fantastic. While that's going on, we can do a couple other things. I've rinsed the can of chickpeas. I'm gonna pour those in my food processor. Oh yeah, you need a food processor to make hummus. I didn't mention that before, but kind of important. It's a very important kitchen instrument for making hummus. Make sure that you have one of these. All right, next we can measure out a 1/3 cup of tahini. Nope, I have a 1/3 of a cup here. Well, it looks like I might have to get my spatula out. Yeah, so a 1/3 cup of tahini goes in, as well as the juice of 1 lemon. So I got my lemon juicer here. You don't need to see me do that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Juice 1 lemon, throw that in. Okay, so look at that. 5, not even 10, but probably more like 5-7 minutes in the freezer. And the roasted garlic looks like this, is ready to handle. So I find there's no easy way to do this unless I haven't discovered it yet. I basically just squeeze the garlic at the base of the head and try to push out all the cloves. That's why we cut the tops off, without getting any skin, obviously, in the food processor. So if you see any, you just need to watch. If you see any skin fall in, make sure that you pull that out. That's one. You don't need to see me do the other one, but should note here too, I've got the can of chickpeas, the 1/3 cup of tahini, the juice of 1 whole lemon, and then I pretty much eyeball the water, but at this time, probably gonna put in about 2 tablespoons worth just to start. And then once we get to the final processing step, we eye the water out. But I'll let you know how much we actually end up using. All right, now that we've got all that stuff in, we're gonna process for a little bit just till it gets chunky, and then we're gonna add in everything else. So, fire it up! Woo! Now, 1/2 teaspoon cumin, 3/4 teaspoon salt. And next, I'm going to fire up the food processor again, and then add the olive oil and the remaining water as it's running. Okay, I've added the olive oil now. I'm gonna run it again and slowly add the water. I'm probably gonna end up adding at least a 1/4 cup, but this is where you have to kind of monitor what's going on. I run it, I add some, I check the consistency, I run it some more. If there's one tip I would like to share, that is, it's if you think, or if you're wondering if you've run the food processor long enough, then you probably haven't run it long enough. Run it for like 5 minutes on high. Just let it go, because that's what's gonna give you the creamy, delicious, creamy, smooth consistency that makes homemade hummus so awesome. So there's no need to record me running the food processor for 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna go do it by myself. It's time for the final test. Creamy, salty, lemony, delicious. Let's serve it up. Okay, well, we've got it all in the serving containers, and you can see that it yields quite a bit for 1 can of chickpeas. That's snacks for a week in my books. final step that I like to do just for presentation is I drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Also, it gives it a little bit more oil when you get that first bite. And then for a little color, and just because spice is oh so nice, smoked paprika. You could also just do regular paprika or your spice of choice. Just a little dash. Doesn't need too much. As much or as little as you want. I'll do the same thing with the other one. And that's a wrap. Thank you for coming to another episode of Cooking with Rob. Today was the snack edition. Today we did roasted garlic hummus. And if you do this, you'll have hummus for a week. You'll save a little bit on your grocery bill. Hear that, Jeff? Make your own hummus, man. See you next time, everyone. Take care.